Hello, people. Hello. On a fine July. It's July. We're talking about this is the 9th of July. Just less than 2 months before fantasy football starts. Less than 2 months, people. 2 months. July, August, September. I think the first game is the 8th of September. This is the 8th of July. 2 months. And then we get to the real season and fantasy football season. And as I always do, on the second weekend of every month leading up to fantasy football, I bring out my mock draft. And everyone's been different. Everyone has been different. And speaking of different, this is what I want to do. Last month, I had a mock draft, pulled it out. I wouldn't say pulled it out, but brought it to you, and was able to bring out. Hold on, let's just do this. Okay, and to bring out my mock draft on what I thought was a decent mock draft. It wasn't. It's always a work in progress. I said that from the beginning in January. I've done this since January, February, March, April, May, June. Now this is July, and I'm bringing this out. Everyone's been different. Absolutely everyone has been different. I'm going to do something different. Here. Now, I'm thinking that, okay, Jerry, you brought your mock drafts back and forth, and my co-host, who's going to show up right now, has always questioned, and I'll say that. I'll say it like that. He's always questioned my 1 through 12. Because this is a mock draft 1 through 12. Okay. And PPR, for those who don't know, you should know, points per reception, which is fine. Okay. And I've always brought my version of a mock draft. So I said, you know what? First of all, let me just do this. This is my mock draft of last month. That's scrolling under the screen right now. Okay? My version of my mock draft, which parts of it was challenged, which is fine. That's no big deal. I don't expect it to be perfect. Everybody has their own opinion and entitled to their own opinion. But this is my version of last month, I should say, mock draft. Well, I decided, I had an epiphany at the last minute before my show came on. And I see my co-host shaking his head, but that's okay. I said, you know what? We did this last year in Vegas. And I said, well, why not do it for this month? Last year in Vegas, when we were picking in our mock draft, either whatever it was, and I can't remember what it was, I had the odd picks, and Mr. FSP, Victor Gardner, had the even picks. So I said, so why not do it now? Why not do it now? Okay. I said, why not? Okay. Do something different. No. This is my show. Let me.
I'm saying Vegas wasn't a mock. You said Vegas was a mock.
Okay,
Vegas wasn't a mock.
no, it wasn't a mock. Okay, it wasn't a mock. We had an actual draft that we were in, and we alternated picks throughout the draft. I had the odd picks. He had the even picks, or vice versa. It didn't make a difference. We alternated draft picks.
I had odd. You had even.
It doesn't, like I said, it didn't make a difference. Just we alternated draft picks. So I said, well, why not? Why not do this mock draft with Mr. FSP? So that was my choice that I wanted to do this month. Okay, we're getting closer to the fantasy football season, and I said it earlier before you jumped on the show. This is exactly 2 months before the fantasy football season starts. This is July 8th, and the first game starts July 8th.
September 8th.
Oh, I'm sorry, September 8th. You're right, September 8th. Okay, September 8th.
This is what happens when you think you're ready for the
okay.
September
8th. Okay, thank you. You know, I do the same thing on your show, so I ain't got a problem with it. Okay, I stand corrected. That's what my co-host is supposed to do. Keep me in check. Okay, or keep whoever is the host in check when they observe a small issue. Okay, no problem. Anyway, Mr. FSP.
Yes.
7 minutes before the show, I said
actually 6, but who's counting?
7? Who's counting? It don't make a difference. It was short notice. Okay, fine, that's short notice. But in my opinion, since you say that you're an astute fantasy football player, should have a right off the bat of your head who should be within the top 12 of your fantasy football draft. So I said, well, okay, I'm not going to challenge them. That's not the case here.
Of course not.
That's not the case. It's just the fact is, we're going to do this on the fly. Okay, we're going to do this on the fly. As you see below me is the one from July, and as I'm going to do, when we take 1 through 12, I'm going to display it on the bottom of the screen, so you can see as we go through 1 through 12. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to save this.
Excuse me.
I'm going to save this. And bless you. I'm going to save this and compare this one to the one we're going to do. Just for a reference. I'm just saying. Okay.
Well, before we begin, we need to know the settings. Before you go to any draft, you need to know the settings.
The setting? What do you mean the settings? It's a 12-team PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers. It doesn't. You don't need to know all that. It's a PPR.
I need to know. Well, for me, I need to know, am I getting, you said PPR, am I getting half a point for running backs? Am I getting no points for running back catches? Am I getting, rushes?
Come on.
Because those points for a running back, whether it's a half a point or a full point, for their rush is important.
If I didn't specify.
Well, that's why I said I need to know the settings.
Come on.
I mean, you got to know the settings.
Really, come on. It's seriously. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Come on, Victor. Come on. This is what we're going to do, and just listen what I'm going to say. Okay. And it's a 1-point PPR, and it's for all positions: tight end, running back, and wide receiver. That's all you need to know because it's the first round. That's all you need to know. It's 1-point PPR. You don't need to run
too.
What?
quarterbacks run too.
I don't have. Did I just say anything about running? I just said it's a 1-point PPR.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You know the if what happens? What happens? Now you had what happens in a regular fantasy football. Okay, so this is the PPR setup. This is going to be just like anybody does a mock draft. They don't give all the settings. They just say it's a 1-point PPR, and here we go. Come on.
I'm going to explain to you why once we're done. But go ahead. Am I first or second, or have you ever decided?
You know.
No, I'm asking you. Legit. Am I first or second?
You know. Let me just explain.
Oh, he's about to make a sign, y'all. He's about to make a sign. Oh, Lord.
You know what? If you had looked at your settings on your chat, on the
text,
that
you just put in there.
On the text,
that you just put in there.
On that, wait a minute. You had enough time to answer, so you had enough time to read it.
Bro, you just sent it. Just sent it.
No, I didn't. Look, I sent it at 9:53. He said, no, at 9:52. Do something different, mock draft. You had odd numbers. I have even. 9:52.
Okay. Now, people can't see this because our phone.
You know what? We just spent almost 5 minutes going through garbage because the fact is I think you just wanted to give me a hard time.
No, seriously. Mine says I'm doing a mock draft. This is in the neighborhood street football league. On WhatsApp, I don't even have. It just says you coming, and it says.
Wait, whoa!
Okay, I see it.
Thank you. Okay. You just automatically.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
I don't understand that. I didn't understand. It was misunderstanding to me because I thought you were saying you had.
Come on, Victor.
No, seriously, I thought that's what you said.
You a grown ass man. You can't understand that.
Well, you wrote it like a 2-year-old.
Doing something different. Mock draft. You have odd numbers. I have even.
Okay. Well, you put a period and you have odd period numbers. I have even. So I didn't understand that because the period.
Oh, stop,
dude.
Stop. You stop. Come
Seriously,
on.
Though.
Stop.
Okay, let's go.
You're a military man. Pick it up. Come on, pick it up.
Hey, I'm an intelligent military man. There's a difference.
Pick it up.
Some of us
pick it up.
Ain't as smart as me.
Pick it up, Sergeant. Pick it up.
Hey, first sergeant, you.
Well, not yet.
Oh, do not jinx me like that.
Wait a minute. You just you want to be precise? I'm being precise. Here.
Okay.
Anyway.
What's the first overall pick?
Okay, with the first overall pick, let me just create this banner. Go ahead. With the first overall pick.
In this 1-point PPR, because I take it you get it for a catch and a rush, I select the best fantasy football player this year, bar none, CMC.
Okay. Okay.
You gotta remove that.
And tell me why you say that. Just give me a brief synopsis of why you say that.
Well, as I said before, he's the best overall fantasy football player this year, bar none. I say that because the system he's in and his utilization will make him that much more valuable to any fantasy player. He's in a very similar position as he was in Carolina in the fact that he's having quarterback issues. The difference is this: better coaching, better defense, better offensive weapons, Papa John's. No, I'm joking about the Papa John's. But, and he also has a capable backup in Elijah Mitchell who can literally line up at running back, and he line up in the slot and go catch balls. Have you figured out how to change the scroll at the bottom? Because I'm waiting for you to do that.
What's that?
I thought you were going to change the scroll at the bottom and put our picks up.
Once I'm putting them in place. Once I have that, then I'm going to show.
Oh, when we do all of them.
Yes. Once I do all of them.
I thought you were doing one at a time, which was like suspenseful.
You weren't listening again. That's okay. That's all right. You weren't listening because I had said that before, but that's okay. That's okay. You weren't listening. I understand it's early in the morning where you're at, but that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, take a long drink.
You don't have to.
Okay. Well, my second pick of the fantasy football draft, I can't say I went kicking and screaming last year, but I did go kicking almost kicking and screaming last year. Was really skeptical of this player last year, and I freely admit it. Hey, look, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I freely admit it. But I think this player is going to regress in receiving, since it's a PPR. I think he's going to regress in receiving because the team he's on has more receiving options, and because of last year's situation of the two wide receivers, a total of 13 games they weren't on the field. I think that he made up for it because they didn't have a viable pass catching option that was any better than Austin Eckler. So, and I was skeptical of that last season, but I went along with it. Not any problem. After Mr. FSP and I were drafting in Vegas. Okay, look.
It was my pick.
Let me put it this way. Victor likes to toot his own horn, which is fine. Okay.
Oh, I know you ain't talking.
Wait a minute. Let's see. You're so quick. He likes to toot his own horn, and I'm not one to not do that also.
Oh, okay.
But I am one to tell you when I'm wrong or was I mistaken. And I have said this more than once over the last 7 months that I was mistaken about Austin Eckler. But I'm not going to be mistaken about him this year. Let me put it this way. I think he's going to regress, but I don't think he's going to regress to the point that he can't be the number 2 pick in the fantasy football draft. Okay? That's my way of saying that. I think he is going to be capable of being a viable number 2 pick in anybody's fantasy football draft as long as it's PPR. Now, it's a different story if it's standard, which a lot of people don't play now. Most people do play PPR, meaning point per reception, and Austin Eckler falls right in that wheelhouse. Okay? So that's my explanation of why I'm putting Austin Eckler at number 2. At number 3, Mr. FSP, who you got? Is it a wide receiver or are you going to another running back?
Well, excuse me. Seeing as though this system is designed to, fantasy that is designed to accentuate the individual, right? Okay. You can pick players, dynamic players on terrible teams. And Truck mentioned something in our group text about, loyalty versus business. Fantasy football makes it a business, plain and simple. You're not loyal to a player unless you're Jerry and it's Deshaun Watson versus the team that you support. And with the third overall pick, the more I look at it, the more I think this guy's going to probably drop down in actual drafts because I don't believe his team is going to have as many weapons and be as potent. But with that being said, the facts are the facts. Justin Jefferson is my pick at number 3 because he's going to get a large number of targets outside of TJ Hawkinson. If Minnesota gets a running back that's a legit number 1, then he will be justified in being my number 3. But outside of that, I got a feeling that he's going to slip probably towards the back end of the first or even later in actual fantasy numbers. Not in drafts, but in fantasy numbers. So.
Okay. You're probably not a fan of Justin Jefferson, even though you did have him on your team last year. You acquired him, but that's okay. You think he's going to regress because do you think the
offense is going to stagnate? I didn't say I wasn't a fan of Justin Jefferson. What I said was he's going to be the offense isn't as potent, and because of that, he's really the only option on offense outside of Hawkinson, the tight end. But that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So, all right, we have so far we have CMC number 1, Austin Eckler number 2. We have hold on, let me see.
Justin Jefferson number 3.
Justin Jefferson number 3, and I'm going to go to another wide receiver as number 4. For the simple fact, I think this is I think this guy, if you take him here or even lower, in some places I've seen him even lower, I think this guy is going to be a steal because I think he's going to have a huge season this year. Better than Justin Jefferson, and probably outpace in numbers Austin Eckler and CMC. I truly believe that. If you get him 4 or anywhere within the first round, going down to number 12, I don't think no way he's going to be number 12. I've seen him 5 and 6, but I haven't seen anything anywhere below that. Then I think Jamar Chase at number 4 is going to be the man, and he's going to be right on the heels of Justin Jefferson, if not surpass him, because he led all wide receivers in red zone targets per game, 28 and 14 games played, and expected fantasy half points per game. There, to me, he's an extremely strong bet to finish number 1 in red zone targets and receiving touchdowns. He had big numbers. He had over 1,000 yards. I think he only played 12, 13 games, something like that. If he had played the rest of the season healthy, and that's key to any of these players, number 1 to number 12 that we're going through, that's key to be warranted a first-round pick, nonetheless a fourth-round pick. And I think Jamar Chase should definitely be within the top 5. Okay, Mr. FSP, you have number 5.
Number 5 will keep you alive and viable in your fantasy leagues. Some people are going to doubt the ability of this guy because of what happened last year. Some people are going to say the team isn't that good. And that part might be a little true. But I'm going to tell you that this guy literally could be the number one fantasy player when it's all said and done. He's a stud. He's the favorite target of the quarterback. He's blind, but his name is Cooper. Cooper Kupp, number 5.
Okay. And I feel this is going to be another steal. If he drops down to number 5, okay, or below in somebody's first round fantasy draft, because he's the number 1 target for Matthew Stafford, and you just said it yourself, maybe not on a good team. Well, if they're not on a good team and they're playing an opponent that more likely are going to be up on him, what are they going to be doing? Passing the football. And that's going to benefit the number 5 pick Mr. FSP just talked about, Cooper Kupp. Going to feed the beast. Okay? So this, like I said, number 4, number 5, if you have them down here, this may be a steal because they could easily wind up number 1 and 2 as fantasy at the end of the season. They can easily end up because both teams are passing teams, and both teams, these number 1 wide receivers are beasts, and their quarterbacks are going to feed that beast. So, you can't go wrong. In fact, I'm looking at the first 5, and these are awesome picks. Awesome picks. If you get in the first 5, you can't have a second thought that I didn't make a good pick. You can't. I'm looking at the first 5. CMC, Eckler, Jefferson, Chase, and Kupp. Come on, man. You know you're going to get some fantasy points as long as they stay healthy. And I had to premise that because look what happened to Cooper Kupp last year. He got hurt. Look what happened. Look what happened to Chase. He got hurt. Okay, and he didn't finish the season well. Okay, so I have to premise this. You can come back and say, "Oh, you didn't know what you're talking about. These guys didn't do what they got hurt." Okay, you can't control injuries. You can't predict. I did, but you can't predict injuries.
Well, I did.
You can't predict injuries. And this is football, man. People get nicked up. Things happen. But with the number 6 pick, I'm thinking, am I going to go wide receiver here? No. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to go to a semi-wide receiver. Oh, God. A semi-wide receiver that puts up comparable numbers to Jefferson, Chase, and Kupp, and is a favorite target of one of the best NFL football quarterbacks in the league, and a 2-time, not 1, 2-time Super Bowl champion. I got to go with number 87 in the Kansas City program, and a tight end by position, but a wide receiver in reality because he puts up over 1,000 yards over the last 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Could be more longer than that. But Travis Kelce has got to be within the top 6. Got to be. There's no two ways about it. I know Mr. FSP didn't agree with it, but
not at all.
Kupp, Chase, Jefferson, Kelce has comparable numbers. He has comparable numbers, and maybe with one of these, at least one of them, better numbers as a tight end. I know some people don't like to draft a tight end in the first round, but in essence, this is a wide receiver. This is wide receiver in a tight end's costume. Okay? That's all I can say. All right, Mr. FSP, you got number 7.
See, this is where we become difficult and have to debate. But I choose not to. I'm not going to choose violence this morning. But I reserve the right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I asked the question. Well, this is one of the reasons why I asked the question about the scoring system in the draft. Anytime you put a tight end, stop it. Namely, Travis Kelce, ahead of a player such as Saquon Barkley, who I'm picking, there's a problem. Saquon gets you yards on the ground, touchdowns on the ground, yards on the ground in the air. Yards in the air and touchdowns in the air. He's a more utilized tool than Travis Kelce. There's no way in God's green earth a tight end should come before a dual threat running back. But that's Jerry's pick. That's his decision. But for me, any dual threat running back is going to come before a tight end. Now, as Jerry said, Kelce's numbers are comparable to the wide receivers that we discussed earlier. But there have been plenty of times where Travis Kelce only had like 3 or 4 catches. Granted, those 3 or 4 catches were touchdowns, but those are 3 or 4 touches in a game versus Saquon or a player like Saquon that's going to get 20-plus touches a game every time he's in. Whether it's 10 running, 10 receiving, or all running, or all receiving. You know he is going to get those touches, which equal points. So, as I said, my decision and my style is different than what, JT has. And I'm picking Saquon at number 7. He's way better and will provide you way more than Travis will. I got last year's numbers right here if you want to talk about them, but that's up to you.
Okay. You just feel that Travis Kelce doesn't warrant a high draft pick. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, he doesn't deserve to be drafted above a dual threat running back such as Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Now, if you want to put him above Nick Chubb, you want to put him above a rookie, if you want to put him above I'm going to say it, the Kane, that's a good debate because that's really good and debatable. But even when you do that versus a Nick Chubb versus the Kane, I said Kane, not King, the Kane, those guys are still getting the ball 20, 30 times a game and still getting points consistently because they are the focal point of the offense.
Okay.
So, it is what it is. Derrick Henry is still a monster. I know he's coming toward the end of his time in Tennessee, but he's got a little bit something left in the tank. Somebody's going to get a monster next year.
Okay.
But we're talking about this year.
All right. You had Barkley at number 7. And my namesake has got to be somewhere in this draft. And one of my favorite numbers is 8. Is 8. One of my favorite numbers is 8. And this is where I think Jonathan Taylor should fall. I mean, you got all these other players here. You see on the bottom of the screen where I have Jonathan Taylor at number 5. Now, Mr. FSP could easily put him at number 5, but he didn't. He could have easily put him over Saquon Barkley, but he didn't.
Because he ain't.
Okay, no problem. No problem. I got no problem. I'm not disputing any of your picks, unlike someone else, but I'm not disputing any of your picks. You want to put that person in that position? This is the option that I'm giving you this month in this draft. Right now, I have Jonathan Taylor, and this is the bottom half of the draft is where it gets a little sketchy, where some players that fall 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th could easily be put in the second round, high in the second round. But I'm putting Jonathan Taylor number 8. I do believe that what happened to him last year was unfortunate, really unfortunate. I didn't like Jonathan Taylor last year, to tell you the truth, but I like him this year at the 8th position or below. And definitely he underperformed in 11 games and playing. He averaged 12.6 fantasy points and finished as a running back 18 when he was healthy. Now, he was on a bad team, and you should know, fantasy players in the first round or whatever round normally don't do well if they're on a bad team, because the fact is they may be the best option on the team, and that opposing defense is going to key in on them to try to prevent the offense, meaning John Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts, from being able to get the best out of their player. So I'm saying Jonathan Taylor, I have at number 8. Okay, now we move to number 9, which gets interesting. It gets interesting. All right, Mr. FSP. I love this, man. I love this. Mr. F, and I should have thought of it earlier, but I didn't. But I'm loving this because we're going back and forth. I tell you the truth, I'm not agreeing with some of your picks, but I'm not going to dispute it because we're going through the picks the way we want to go through the picks, regardless. You got number 9, Mr. FSP. Talk to me.
Number 9.
Yes, sir.
Now, number 9 is also a player that I feel should be above Travis Kelce, but I'm going to say no this year. I think Travis Kelce should be ahead of him only because of the situation that this player is in. Now, you got to remember the settings, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I asked at the beginning. It's very important. This player led his team in receptions, which is crazy. Very much like Austin Eckler, but just on a bad team, or projected to be a bad team. This player also led his team in rushing last year. Now, I know there's going to be some consternation in this pick, but hey, life is what you make it. And he was just playing cornhole just yesterday, I believe, on ESPN, or day before yesterday on ESPN, with Nikki Bella and it was like a celebrity thing. So 2 world champion cornhole players paired up with 2 celebrities. And this guy could actually play cornhole In fact, he and his partner won the championship. And he will help you win yours. Number 9, I got the other Aaron. Not A.A. Ron, but Aaron Jones.
Okay. Aaron Jones is number 9 in the first round. Okay.
Yep.
All right. At number 10. You threw me for one there. Oh my God. Oh, okay. At number 10, they call him the cheetah.
He's a
They
cheater.
call him the cheetah. One of the fastest men in fantasy in football. One of the fastest men in football. And I've said before, speed kills. And he's a speedster. He's one of 2 speedsters that are on the receiving core of the Miami Dolphins. Scored 17 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Over 1,000 yards. You got to put Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill at number 9.
Number 10.
I'm sorry. Wow. Thank you. Number 10. I'm looking at it. He could.
That's why I said, why do you still have that scrolling at the bottom? But it's your thing. So I have a jersey and an autographed helmet for Tyreek Hill. If anyone's interested, just throwing that out there. Number 11, if you think my number 9 threw you for a loop, number 11 is going to throw you for a bigger loop. Number 11 is going to throw you for a bigger loop. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is why I ask about the settings and why you, as a fantasy owner, should understand all of your settings. This player is all world. He runs. He throws. He scores touchdowns. And without further ado, I give you my number 11, Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Shit.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, cursing? You okay? Did that pick throw you for that?
No, I'm not okay. I dropped something. No, I'm not okay. Shit. Okay.
Well.
Damn it. Hold on.
We got one pick left, and you decide to have technical difficulties.
Hold on. Screwed up.
You put Tua? Why'd you?
It was okay. Was okay. You had who had number 11? I'm sorry.
Jalen Hurts.
You had Jalen Hurts at number 11?
If you were paying attention, yes.
I was stunned. That's why. Stunned.
It's okay. It's okay. You dropping stuff. You're stunned. Understand.
Oh, well, let me put it this way. And I'm going to stun you on this one. Maybe not. I'm going to stun you on this one.
Okay, it's number 12, so.
It's number 12. And he was one of the best wide receivers on his former team, and he's still one of the best wide receivers in the NFL and in fantasy. And I'm loving this guy. And at number 12, he could easily fall into the second round, but I like him at being where I put him. He happens to be the Eagles' number 1 wide receiver, and he finished as wide receiver number 4. And he was definitely talented when he was in Tennessee, and now he's with a friend of his And Philly, I got one of my favorite wide receivers. Victor knows this from a few years back. He definitely knows this. I like A.J. Brown at number 12.
Can you tell me why? You even have him in the top 12?
He's in the top 12. He's what was wide
I know, I'm
receiver.
asking why did you put him there?
I just told you he was wide receiver number 4. You don't think wide receiver number 4 warrants to be in the first round? Number 12? Hello?
Well, his quarterback's in the first round. So I guess.
Let me put it this way.
I don't think.
In most mock drafts, that quarterback is not in the first round. Okay?
Well, this ain't most mock drafts.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is you're questioning whether I put J.J. Brown at number 12. But I didn't question you at all.
Oh,
now, that's the difference between you and me. I didn't question you about putting Jalen Hurts. I just said okay and kept on pushing.
Well, no, I just wanted to know since it was at the end.
All right. I just explained to you. You weren't listening.
No, I heard you.
But then you questioned it. And why did you question it? He was that's what I'm saying, Mr. FSP. You got a double standard, but that's okay. I understand that.
No, I allow you to question me. It's not like I don't say you can't question my thoughts.
Look,
I don't get offended by it.
On this show, on this show, the host doesn't question.
Is always right.
On this show, the host doesn't question in a mock draft where a person puts his mock draft. It's a mock draft. It's a work in progress. It's somebody's opinion. That's fine. That's fine. You want to put Jalen Hurts at number 11 in the first round of a draft? No problem. Okay.
And you drop your pen and say, "Oh, I forgot I lost it."
No. I just said no problem. Is that what you want to do? No problem. All right, people.
You gonna put them up?
Huh?
Are you gonna put it on?
Do you want me to put them up now?
I thought that's what you said you was gonna do once it's done.
Okay. Right. There it is. Okay.
Money number 4. I don't get the money number 4 thing, but okay.
He's gonna be money this year. That's why I put him up there.
Oh, you put him
okay. Come on, man. This is above you. It's
well, having 4 wins, going to 8 wins, equaling top 6 for the playoffs. Listen, a brother is smarter than you think. It just took a little thinking.
No. It's above you, but that's okay.
At
a later date, I'll explain it to you. But right now, this is how we said it. Okay. What was comparable was CMC number 1. Chase was moved down 1. Eckler moved up 3 or 2. Taylor moved down 3. No Robinson. Saquon Barkley was number 6. Okay. He had number 6.
He was number 7, bro. I don't know how you messed this up.
Oh, how did I mess it up? Did I mess it up?
Remember, I had odd numbers. Saquon can't be number 6 if I had odd numbers.
Okay, hold on, man. Let me just fix this. Let me just fix this. Okay, hold on. I'll fix it. I had Kelsey at number 6. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And Barkley at
number 7.
Number 7, no problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to save the world. Just call me Eminem, 50 Cent, and everything else.
Well, who am I missing out then? Who do I have at number 8?
I don't know who you had at number 8. You picked number 8. That's who you picked.
Oh, you had Aaron Jones in it. Didn't you have number 9?
I had Aaron Jones at number 9.
I had Taylor at number 8. Okay. All right, people. Aaron Jones at number 9 and Jalen Hurts at number 11. Okay. Do that and then save this. and then show it. Okay, there it is. All right. I wouldn't have had a quarterback in the first round, but times have changed, and some people view, and I'm not knocking, some people view that they should pick a quarterback, and this proves my point. This proves my point.
What proves your point?
We talked about yesterday about quarterbacks, okay, and whether we should have a quarterback, two quarterbacks in the league. This proves my point. You picked the quarterback in the first round. You think somebody?
How does this prove your point?
Wait a minute. Just listen to me. Just listen to me, okay? You picked a quarterback in the first round. You think somebody else is not going to say, "Oh shit, somebody picked a quarterback in the first round." I got it. There's a possibility, strong possibility. I got to pick a quarterback in the second round. Or
so let me help you.
Or several people thinking, "Oh,
listen.
Wait a minute. Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt.
Okay, I'm going to make you fool yourself again. I'm going to make you fool yourself. Go ahead. Go
ahead. Thank you. Okay.
Because you did yesterday.
Don't interrupt me.
Yesterday.
It's my show. Don't interrupt
me.
You're right. I'll tell you when I finish.
You're right. Go ahead.
Tell you when I finish. Pick the quarterback.
Full story.
Pick the quarterback in the first round. And there's stuff, and there's another word for it, but I'm gonna say like this: stuff rolls downhill. Okay, so when somebody picks a quarterback in the first round, they're not most fantasy football players are not going to wait to the 4th, 5th, and 6th round to pick their quarterback. They're going to say, "Oh, right, he picked his quarterback," and that was a big red flag. He picked their quarterback in the first round. I got to pick a quarterback early because I can see what's going to happen. And like I said, stuff rolls downhill. You pick the quarterback in the first round, you're going to have people, more than one, picking in the second round. And then after that, until everybody has at least one quarterback. At least one quarterback. And the high-profile quarterbacks, because you picked him number 11, are going to go fast. And come on, man. Come on.
Let me know when you finish so I can prove you wrong again.
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, since he brought up yesterday's show, which is FSP, Fantasy Sports and Politics, on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. What he neglected to tell you are several facts. So I'm going to give you the facts as he does what he did. Fact number 1, it doesn't matter. You don't have to pick a quarterback in the first round. That's peer pressure. Fact number 2, which is even a bigger fact that he has not even considered because he's short-sighted in his thinking on this. He's not thinking it through. We have keepers. I don't need to pick a quarterback in the first round if I'm keeping one of my quarterbacks. But some people don't think like that because they're not using all of their. That's why I told you, ladies and gentlemen, when we started this, and I asked Jerry, what are the settings? What Jerry and others in the league are failing to understand because they're not thinking, you can keep one or even both of your quarterbacks that you currently have on your team. I know one player has 2 solid quarterbacks. He won't need to draft a quarterback at all.
Yeah, but
let me finish.
I got something for that.
So with that being said, Jerry has a problem with a super flex. But he only has a problem with the term super flex because he runs a super flex team or league, but it's called an OP, offensive player. It's the same thing. A super flex is the same as an OP because you're just doing an offensive player. Super flex, quarterback, running back, tight end, receiver. OP, quarterback, running back, tight end, receiver. Same thing. But as I was saying, and I'll end on this because I'm not trying to take over. People that don't understand the whole picture because they're not thinking it through don't see, and I'm not just knocking you, Jerry, because you're not the only one that have a problem with it, that you can keep a quarterback. You can keep 2 quarterbacks, and you can draft whoever the heck you want. You don't need to go quarterback first round. But that's a strategy. Truck said it yesterday, and it fell on deaf ears and eyes, apparently. It's a strategy. That's all it is. That's it. And again, I gotta prove why people just don't get the whole picture. I just don't get it. That's just me.
I'm thinking the whole league. I'm not just thinking myself. I could care less.
The whole league. I mean, what is the whole league missing?
Well, let me put it this way. I can guarantee you somebody's going to complain about it during the season about having more than having no quarterbacks not available, but because the fact is everybody has 2 quarterbacks, and most people are going to have 2 quarterbacks because
That's
the fact is
passes, bro. All you need, you didn't tell them it's 5 of y'all that said no to it, right?
Yep.
And I said majority needs to vote. I do not vote as the commission.
I understand that. No problem. I got no problem with that.
But the other people that have voted, except for those that have not, want the super flex.
Let me put it this way: if they wanted the super flex, and I don't, depending on if they vote for it or not, because then the rest of the people haven't voted for it, so they can voice whatever they say. But is it a vote or not? That's what my point is. So you say the majority rules. If there's 6 people that vote no superflex or for superflex, then it's going to be what it's going to be.
But again, Jerry, why are you trying to?
Why are you worried about it?
No, you're giving a false narrative about what I'm doing. That's why I'm worried about it. You're giving a very false narrative because you're saying, "Well, you just got a quarterback." That just proves my point. And I'm like, dude, you're not even thinking.
It can be 2 if you. Let me put it this
way. You're not thinking.
If every team, and I can see every team doing it, it's going to take 24 quarterbacks up.
But it doesn't have to be in the first round.
But you don't give them any.
It doesn't have to be in the first round, Jerry.
But you don't give them any kind of flexibility. Either if they take 2 quarterbacks, that's it. They can't have any more. There's no flexibility in that.
But that's going to be whether it's a super flex or regular. I'm limiting the roster to 2 quarterbacks. Period. That again, you're not listening or you're not wanting to hear what I'm saying. It does not matter if I start 2 quarterbacks or if I start 1. There's only going to be 2 allowed on your roster. It's that simple.
Well,
that has nothing to do with.
Then why not limit the amount of running backs on there?
Which I have. I said there's
no. What I'm saying is this: is two running backs with the option of 3 running backs on the team right now. Okay.
What do you mean? What did you say?
Right.
Say that again?
As the settings are right now, not going forward. If we get a super flex, as settings are right now, you have 3 running backs that you can put in your roster.
On your starting roster or on your roster?
Starting roster. That's what I meant. Starting
because
roster.
Of the regular flex position.
I understand that.
Okay. Well, I got to clear it up.
Starting roster. Okay. So
you could do that. Yes.
So in reality, you could put 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers,
or 3 tight ends.
You can't put
2 tight ends.
2 tight ends. So why not limit it to 2 tight ends or 3 running backs? Because you can start 3 running backs, but why give them another running back? They can start. They can always put that running back on IR, just like anybody else. They can always put their running back if he gets hurt on IR and pick up another running back. Come on, am I right about that? Am I right about that?
You are incorrect in what you're saying because you're framing it so falsely. Guy, every team will have a maximum number of 4 running backs on their squad.
Yeah, but
they can start a maximum of 3. 4 wide receivers.
That's exactly.
No. That's not what you said.
Yes, I did. I said you can start 3 running backs.
Yes, but you're negating the part that there's only a maximum of 4 running backs on your squad. Well, that's important.
Well,
that is very important that you conveniently forgot.
What I'm saying is this, and
no, you didn't forget, you just
understanding what I'm saying. 2 running backs and a flex can be a running back also. So you can start. Wait a minute, let me finish. You can start a maximum of 3 running backs. Okay. You can start a maximum of 3 wide receivers. You can start, if you have a super flex, you can start a maximum of 2 quarterbacks. But you can't have a 3rd quarterback on your roster, but you can have a 4th running back or a 4th wide receiver on your roster. So why not limit it? It's the same. It's the same.
Limit what? Because I've already told you every position is going to have a limit. Every position is going to have a limit. So I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
Listen to what I'm saying. You can start a maximum of 3 running backs. I'll break it down like this. You can start a maximum of 3 running backs on your roster, right? Okay.
In a regular flex.
Okay, you can start a maximum of 3 running backs, but you have a maximum of 4 running backs on your squad. Why? Okay. Why not restrict it? Okay, you can start a maximum of 3 running backs, and in your super flex, you can maximum of 2 quarterbacks, but you're only limited to 2 quarterbacks, but you're not limited to 3 running backs. Come on, man. That's what I'm. Hey, am I right? Am I right?
I'm going to tell you again. And we did this yesterday. We did the math, right? Remember the math? How many NFL quarterbacks are there that start? 32. How many of them have backup?
Okay.
32.
What's that got to do with anything?
Wait, hey, check it. I want you to hear me out. Because you brought it up. I'm going to show you.
That's your strategy.
I'm going to show you. So, conceivably, a total of 64 quarterbacks can be drafted, right? Can be drafted or picked up off the waiver wire. Total. Okay. If we go to if everybody grabs 2 quarterbacks, because everybody might not, but if everybody grabs 2 quarterbacks, that's 24 out of that 64 that are gone. Okay. So that means you pretty much have taken more than a third of the entire talent pool off the board, out of the game, right? Running backs. You did it yesterday. At least 2 running backs. That's 64, and that's normal, right? The whole quarterback population is 64, but running backs, the whole population is close to 90 to 100 and some change. There's a huge disparity in one group than there is in another. So let me clarify this for you.
Draft strategy.
The limited number of players to choose from in one pool means there must be a restriction. A tighter restriction. The limited number in the other pool can be a little wider. Why? Because you have 2 times or almost 2 times the amount of players available. I don't want to use the analogy I did yesterday because you said it was a stretch when it wasn't. It's called
Draft strategy.
I'm trying to control the pet population. We're going to get our pets spayed and neutered. I'm doing a Bob Barker. Control the narrative. Because if I only have a total of 64 players, to choose from, versus 90 to 100, why would I make it even that I can get the same or limit the same number in this group with the same number in that group? That's insane. Because somebody can hoard on this one because they know there's very little, if any, possibility of getting a decent quarterback.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this. Okay, let me ask you this.
I'm listening.
What do you call a person in a fantasy football draft that decides not to pick a second quarterback?
That's their strategy.
Oh, there you go. So regardless of what the restrictions are, it's part of their draft strategy. So what you're talking about? It's part of their draft strategy. So depending on you got three running backs and you can't take another running back, or you got two quarterbacks and you can't take another quarterback. It's part of your draft strategy. You don't have to take three running backs. You don't have to take three running backs. You can only take two. You don't have to take a quarterback. You can only take one. It's part of your draft strategy. So all that, what you just said, I understand what you're saying, but what you just said is draft strategy. So you don't have to take. You don't have to max out your running backs. That's part of your draft strategy. You don't have to max out. You don't have to max out your quarterbacks, but you're restricted on your quarterbacks. You're not restricted only up to 4, and you can only start 3 max.
Only up to 4, but that's a restriction.
Wait a minute, you can only start 3 running backs. You can't. You restricted to 4, which to me, if you restrict quarterbacks, you just restrict running backs. You restrict wide receivers.
You are. I don't get why you're saying you're not.
Wait a minute.
Because you are restricted.
Listen, you restricted to 4, but you can only start 3. So why not cut it to 3? If you're thinking, why not cut it to 3? You only can start 3.
We just did the math. We just did the math, Jerry. The pool of players.
It's part of draft strategy. You just said that.
Jerry, again, you asked me why, as a commissioner, am I restricted? This isn't about me, my draft strategy. You asked me why am I restricting the number of players? That's not a draft strategy. That is a population thing. That has nothing to do with strategy.
Your premise.
If I tell you there's a maximum of 64 draftable players, and a maximum of 96 to 100 players draftable.
But you base your premise on that's their strategy. They don't have to take a quarterback.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
So if you choose not to, then you give yourself the option of playing 3 running backs, playing 3 wide receivers, playing 2 tight ends.
No problem.
That's what you decided, not me. All I told you was you cannot have more than X amount of players on your roster. So if I tell you you can have 4 running backs on your roster, you decide I'm going to play 3 of them that week. Okay, you're still within your limit. If I tell you you can have and start up to 2 quarterbacks, and you decide to start 1 and put somebody else in that position, you can, because that's your strategy. It's within the restriction. No one says you have to start 2 quarterbacks. No one says you have to start running backs. What you're getting to, and I told you this yesterday, people panic. People want to, I got to do this because of that. That's what you brought up about Jalen Hurts. No, you don't have to do it. You don't have to. I just proved to you, if I keep 2 quarterbacks, I don't got to draft one.
I'm going to tell you this way, okay? The last league I was in ESPN, one of the TSA leagues, okay? in the draft,
Hmm.
when it turned to two quarterbacks went off the board like hot cakes. They went off the board like hot cakes. That's
That
a
wasn't
fact.
me though.
That's a fact. They went off the
Yeah,
board
because
like
they
hot cakes.
panicked. They panicked. They didn't keep a quarterback the previous year. And Paris told them. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because Paris told them, he didn't tell them to keep a quarterback. He said, we're going to have two quarterbacks. Two quarterbacks. And you know who people kept? They kept position players. They kept Saquon Barkley. They kept, well, that's who was on your team. They kept Cooper Kupp. Jamar Chase. Why? Because they were like, just like this draft, just like this mock draft. Oh, we're going to get these top players. But if you got to start two quarterbacks and your commissioner's telling you the year before, hey, we're going to two quarterbacks, and you decide to keep a running back or a wide receiver, that is on you. And that's why there was a rush on quarterbacks. If you notice in that draft, I didn't pick two quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds. I picked I picked a running back, a quarterback, and a running back because I already had a quarterback. Now, granted, my quarterback didn't perform, but I kept a quarterback because you know what I did? I equitated. I listened to what the commissioner was saying. And right now, since you have left, players have finally caught up. But you know what? They're behind the power curve now because the quarterbacks they want to keep are the mid-level quarterbacks because people kept the higher-end quarterbacks. I got Jalen Hurts. I kept him the year prior. And you know who I got in the first round? Cooper Kupp. That's how you do it. That's a strategy, Jerry. Not, well, people want to get a – nah, come on, man. If I got to tell you how to draft, then you're not on my level.
I'm just saying, if no one keeps the quarterbacks
They're
are
going to be short.
Quarterbacks. That's exactly my point. Okay, exactly.
But that's a strategy. But that is their strategy.
That's exactly my point. Okay, I'm not gonna go. We can go. We can go on for another hour with this.
No. Okay? Let me cut it off on this. We
can go for.
No, I got you. I'm not gonna take you more than 5 minutes on the conversation back and forth because I'm not gonna eat your time. Why, as a competitor, do I care if somebody doesn't understand the rules that they signed up and paid for? Why do I want them to be equal to me? Because they don't understand the rules and settings. My job as an owner is to win the league, not to help you, not to help anybody else, but to win the league. If somebody decides not to keep a quarterback because they want to keep these bomb receivers or they want to keep this bomb running backs,
that's on them.
Exactly. But my role as a commissioner is to make sure you understand the rules.
Look, I understand the rules completely. I'm just putting it out there because the fact is, if nobody asks the question, nobody says anything,
bro,
and they're going to complain. I'm telling you.
Hey, look, how many times I told them to come on the show? How many times I posted in that chat group? And how many times have you been the opposition? Just like on the show right now, and just like yesterday, you've been the opposition. I had to literally reveal to you what people should be thinking about. Because if we do go to a super flex, that to me is, okay, well, now I know there's a premium lit quarterback. And I'm not going to keep Calvin Ridley. I'm only using Calvin Ridley because he's on my mind right now. I'm not going to keep Calvin Ridley because that'll be a mistake. I better keep Trevor Lawrence. I better keep Trey Lance. I think you got Trey Lance on your team or whatever.
No.
But my point is, I shouldn't have to reveal to you a strategy. Because as the commissioner, I got people keep saying, well, you got to draft people in the first round. I'm like, no, you don't. And Trump put it out there yesterday. It's a strategy. If somebody fails to plan according to the rules and stuff, whose fault is that? Not mine.
Well,
that's the person's short-sightedness.
I got to put it out there. It's
been out there.
Okay.
You didn't put it out there. It's been out there since I brought it up.
Yeah, but look, how much has the league been silent? Silent. At least a month. Silent. Not saying anything.
Got
to stimulate the conversation.
And you know what? If folks have a problem with the situation, let them. It's not my beef. I just tell you what it is, and then we vote.
Well,
we did this last year, and it barely failed. It was 6-5 last year. And then what did you and Hoss say after the vote came through? And I said, look, man, it just means you could have had a quarterback in that flex position. But to me, now what you revealed yesterday, you run a super flex, but you call it OP. So I don't get how you have a problem with it.
It's a 10-team.
Hey,
wait a minute, it's a 10-team.
Yeah, 10-team league.
And it's not a keeper. It's not a keeper.
And that makes it worse. That means what your fear is based upon. This is what I'm getting. Okay, your fear is based upon your experience in the league you run, because you're saying people when they see a quarterback in the first round, it goes no, because you don't have a keeper league. You didn't even think about that part. So you went and said, "Oh, I don't want a super flex. It's this, based upon your settings in your league."
I have no fear. You can. There's no fear here. There's no fear.
Okay.
It's a free fall. You can pick whoever you want to pick. That's the point. You can pick whoever you want to pick. You want to pick a couple quarterbacks with the first and second pick? Have at it. That's your strategy. Not yours, but whoever is picking. That's your strategy. Bro. So it is what it is. And it's 10 teams. So you can have
your league, yes.
Yeah, you can have a third quarterback on there. So and so it is what it is. So you can
I truly hope. I really want this.
I know you want Superflex. I know you want.
I really do, because y'all are like sipping on some scissor, sipping on some scissor, and I'm like, why are they not getting it? The people that opposed it, you, Sandy.
Wait, just because they're opposed, you don't got to degrade them. Just because
I'm not degrading them. I say I don't get why you don't understand it. You, Sandy,
they understand it. They don't want a 2 quarterback league. They understand it. Everybody has their point of view.
And you don't have to play a 2 quarterback system.
Well, and if they want to be in the league, and it's proposed out there as a vote, a super flex, they voice their vote. And if they don't want to be in, if it's a super flex, they say, well, I'm out. That's their choice. That's their choice.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking their choice. All I'm saying is, don't degrade the system just because you don't understand the system.
Wait a minute.
I just proved that you didn't understand.
Just because they disagree, you think they don't understand. They understand that they just disagree.
Jerry,
they just disagree.
Okay, yeah, but I just had to prove to you, because you didn't even think about it.
You're not getting what I'm saying. No. I disagree. So disagree. And you say I don't understand. I just disagree. Okay.
You disagree.
Okay.
But your reasoning for disagreeing is the part.
You have a hard time. You have a hard time people disagreeing with you, but that's okay.
No. I'm cool with it. But what your explanation was proved that you didn't understand. That's all I'm saying. You can disagree with it all day, but your explanation was like, okay, this, and I'm like, bro, you don't even get it. Nobody has to do that.
Look, I have my opinion. You have your opinion. You just don't like the reason why I disagree. Okay, fine. Fine.
Don't
like the reason why I disagree. Because you keep saying I don't get it. You don't like. That's because you don't like the reason I gave you. I disagree, but that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to disagree.
Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, Fantasy Sports and Politics. We'll be going over the AFC West. And I'm quite sure there's going to be a lot of disagreements there, too. I'm quite sure about that.
What I've learned? What I've learned on when you do a podcast, this is what I've learned when I do a podcast. Everybody has their opinion.
Yep.
And a lot of times I differ from your opinion. I'm not one to, if you notice, I'm not one. When you give your opinion, you give your opinion. I give you my opinion. I'm not going to fight you on your opinion. That's what I'm saying. On this draft, I didn't fight you on anything you picked. I may have disagreed, but you gave your opinion, and I'm not going to fight it. That's what I'm talking about. On a good podcast, when your host or co-host say something, you can put in a couple of words, but in my opinion, you don't go back and forth, because it never ends. Your co-host or your host has an opinion, we move on. And that's what I'm doing. We move on.
That is your opinion. I can recall you changed your opinion though. Because I recall when my cousin said live, and I was just listening to the audio on Blog Talk. Because I'm deleting this stuff right now. When my cousin said, oh, controversy is what works. He was like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, God rest my cousin's soul. I guess you've changed. Because when I was saying the exact same thing you're saying, you were saying, right now, what you're saying right now, you were saying the complete opposite, agreeing with my cousin, live on air. When I was like, why do I gotta be so combative? That you were the first one to chime in when he said it. Yeah, he's right. It makes for good audio. That's you.
What are you talking
You've changed. And I'm glad. But you don't sit up here and act like it wasn't that way in the past. I'm just saying.
The past is the past.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
The past is the past. Okay.
But you learn, because that's the same thing I said though. What you just said is the same thing I said several years ago, and you were completely opposed to it, siding with my cousin. So again, I guess I was wrong then and I'm wrong now.
I didn't say you're wrong.
Right then. And I'm wrong now.
I've looked at a lot of podcasts and observed that when one host or co-host gives an opinion, your choice is whether to fight it or to just go on and move on.
Yes.
And in a good podcast, you move on. Everybody has their opinion, and it's up to the viewers to say whether or not they agree. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you several years behind on that though. Now that I've conformed to the combativeness, I conformed, man. You converted me. You converted me, and now you're saying, no, you need to go back to Catholicism.
All right, people. We come to the end of the show.
Oh,
all right. I wanted to do something different. It was a good. Not too many people in the last draft and up to this draft changed positions. There were a few that were out of the bottom part of that draft, but for the most part, last month and this month are relatively the same. Bijan Robinson and Chubb and Jacobs were not into the first round in this one. And I'm glad. I'm glad because the facts is we get two different minds. Why you got to do that? Two different minds. Two different minds putting together a draft. And for all intents and purposes, they're relatively the same from last month. And I may do this next month. It may change, and I'm more likely it's going to change. But I can tell you hold on.
I was saying next month is your final one. Shouldn't that be the one that you give? That's August.
Wait a minute. Just listen.
Okay.
This week was a joint effort. Next month, like I said, and I'm thank you for telling me that this is my next month. My 8.0 is probably going to be my absolutely fixed mock draft that I truly believe that is going to be the final product. It's going to be the final product. I'm up in the air whether I want to do a mock draft, which would be the 10th, 11th of September, which one game would be played.
August, September 11th is regular season now.
Wait a minute. Just listen to what I'm saying. September 11th is the first Sunday of the regular season. Okay, there's still some drafts going on before the game starts. There's still some drafts going on after the first game started. There's still some drafts going on. So picking in the September, I'm still up in the air about, but for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking August. I think August last year I did the same thing that I did the previous years. August would be my final mock draft. I'm also going to do in the coming weeks of August, not necessarily in this order, quarterback, running back, tight end, and wide receiver. And with and in between that, it's going to be my mock draft. So tune in. I got all those positions: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and including in the second week of August, my mock draft. That being said, enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe, and tune in next Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the FS 40 Fantasy Sports and Politics Show, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Western Time or Pacific Time. And I'll be back here again at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with some more shenanigans. Okay, I'll put it that way. More shenanigans. I'm always having a good time, and whatever happens. I'm a wild card on here. Okay, I'm a wild card. You never know how I'm going to be. You never know. I saw this in the chat. Saying that what's it say? About me? I have my food or whatever, something crazy in there.
Oh no! It shouldn't have been food. It should have said acting a fool.
Oh, they said food. Okay.
I know. It was a fool.
You never know what you're going to get from me. Anyway, acting a fool, acting nonchalant, acting cool and collected, whatever. I tell you the truth, I'm never cool and collected. Anyway, people, it's been a pleasure, but we're out of here. We got to go and enjoy the rest of your week. See ya.